Hello everybody. So today I am running in challenge mode. My son I was sitting down getting ready to film. I was like, oh, I'll make a little film, make a little video. And then my son said, oh, I'm on my way over. Don't worry, this isn't a bra, it's a t-shirt. I'm putting on my microphone as we speak. So I'm in challenge mode today because I'm going to try and get this done before he gets here, and he's on his way and he doesn't live that far away. So let's see if I can do this, hopefully just one take. Today I'm going to be showing you a really simple, really easy gift bag, a fabric reusable gift bag. I happen to have a leftover piece of fabric. I'm going to get started now. I'll turn the camera down and then I'm going to babble as I go, but let's see how quickly I can get this done. Oh, wish me luck. So I have got this leftover piece of fabric. I was doing my regular drawstring bags, and this was at the end of a piece, and it's just not quite wide enough. I could turn it into a regular thing, but I'm like, hey, I've been wanting to show you guys how to make quick and easy. These are really quick. These are really easy because the first rule of this is that you don't care. You don't care. Say it with me. I don't care. I am making a gift bag out of scrap fabric. Now, I think I might do this again later and make it a wine bag. But right now, right this minute, we are making this into a gift bag. So this particular piece of fabric is what am I going to do? Okay, it's a 22-inch long piece of fabric, so I'm probably going to make a 20-inch bag, not a 20-inch bag. I'm just telling you what I'm working with. This is a little over 7 inches, and it's 20 inches. It's almost 22 inches long. So if you have a fat quarter, this is a great one to take off the end. So I am just going to, actually I can leave that end. I got to take this end off. It's where the selvage is, and it's always going to look, it'll be a thick, heavy spot that I just don't want to deal with. Okay. Where's my stuff? I'm trying to do this on challenge mode. So basically, I was just getting the camera and everything set up. And then my oldest, John, says, hey, I have to come over. I have to drop off. I don't think he's even staying for long, but he has to drop off. He has to get a form printed out. So from there, he needs to get a form printed out, and he's on his way over. Okay, so what you want to do, this is really simple stuff. So you've got a piece of rectangle. Now, obviously a gift bag. Gift bags come in all shapes and sizes. I did one gift bag the one year, which was used an entire meter of fabric just because it was so big. This is gonna be a relatively small bag, and we'll see what we're gonna do. So first off, you want to open this up, and you want to make sure that you have a decent color thread in your machine, which I just changed over the thread. I'm not even quite ready for this. I'm still moving stuff out of my way. Okay, so your first step is you can measure or you cannot measure, because ideally you're going to use scrap for this. If you're not using scrap, obviously you want to measure. So I'm just going to use this as a seam gauge. Let's make this 4 inches. I'm making this 4 inches. Let me say that one's going to be about 4 inches. So it's going to be about, so when this is done, it's only going to be about that big as a bag. It's not going to be a huge bag. So maybe I just want to do this 2 or 3 inches. So I'm going to do this as 2.5 inches. Okay, so fold it over about 2.5 inches. Don't agonize. Okay, don't agonize about perfection if you don't want to. Give it a clip. Give it a clip. Go to the other end. Fold this in by about 2.5 inches. I'm going to show you a quick trick as we go. Fold it in by about 2.5 inches. You've got 2 choices. Don't forget, this is only going to come out once a year. You're going to throw a gift in it. It's going to sit under a tree, not being mauled to death. Once your gift is in the bag, it's a low use item. So you can stop here and just zigzag this, which is what I'm going to do. If you want a more finished look, then you just fold it under by about 1/4 inch. Take it to the iron if you need to. Like I said, I'm working on challenge mode because my son's on the way. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and fold these under because I can. Do these on challenge mode if you want to. Don't do them on challenge mode if you don't want to. I'm just going to finger press these because once you finger press things, as long as you're not mangling them around, like as long as I'm doing this as I go, and as long as I'm not planning on throwing this in a bin and getting back to it like in the next week or so, Finger press will hold very well. So I'm just kind of eyeballing about 1/4 of an inch. This is so that when the bag is put together, this is so that when the bag is finished and put together, it will not have an open seam. Okay, you guys are going to deal with vertigo today so that I can be quick. So we're going to go over to the camera now. Over to the sewing machine now. And because I turn this under, I don't have to zigzag. If you are really trying to do challenge mode here, then you will leave it open and just zigzag it. That's not supposed to come down. That is not supposed to be coming down. Let's see. This is, that was just the needle threader that came down, and I probably just need to put a little drop of oil on it. It's just kind of sticking on something. So you're putting in a seam, and you're done. Now, if you want to be fancy, obviously you can choose a fancy decorative stitch and do that instead or as well as. I'm not going to do that. I'm on challenge mode. Let's see how quickly I can get this done. Okay, and again, I finger pressed it, so it's not going to be a problem to just go boop. There it is. Bring it under. Do. Go to the edge. You are going to be sewing up the sides. If you don't get all the way to the exact edge, life is fine. I didn't bother back stitching because I'm going to be coming back up here and sewing it anyway. Do. This part here does not have to be perfect. What's going on here? Back over here for a minute. More prep. Over here for more prep. Whoop. Watch out for the vertigo, guys. Okay. Basically, when this is done, you'll see what's happening here. But when this is done, this part's going to be visible. Now, in theory, I should have done that, and I should have folded that in and sewn it down first, but I'm not going to today. Because what I'm going to do next is I'm going to turn this backwards. We're actually almost done. These are super, super simple. So, nope, they're not there. They're over here. Sorry, I'm lunging forward looking for my scissors, and they were behind. The scissors I needed, the best scissors for the job, were behind me. Now, you can do this and put a seam up either side. I'm going to do something really, really... No, I can't do that. Okay. So you're going to go up here like this, right? And you're going to sew a seam up this side and a seam up that side. You're almost done now. But what you're going to do is you're going to take, ooh, that was perfect. You're going to take a piece of ribbon. This is not the greatest ribbon in the world. I don't know where, I can't remember where I got this from. Okay. You're going to take a pair of tweezers. I'm on challenge mode. There was just a piece of thread. Somebody at some point... Oh, a friend of mine had some stash. This is like a 5-year-old piece of ribbon. This has been around for a really long time. By the way, you can't really iron ribbon. If you are a perfectionist and you must iron your ribbon, put your iron at the absolute lowest setting. Okay. So you see where you put this seam here? Then what you're going to do is you're going to line this up just on or just above. You can go just under that seam. Yeah, you can go just under that seam. So you're going to line that piece up there. Put a little clip in. This is just hand-eye coordination stuff. You're gonna fold that up to the inside. You're gonna fold this all the way in half. Okay. So you're gonna fold this down. I'm on the camera good. So you're going to fold this down. And don't forget, single use. You can be a lot more picky if you want. Basically, this just acts as a clip, holds everything in place, and then you just come back, pop. I had my finger pressing down just where the ribbon, just before the ribbon, so that I could pop this off and then pop it back on without shifting the ribbon out of place. So, almost done. Almost done. More vertigo. Back to the machine, guys. Ugh. Okay. Not necessarily the greatest view on the machine, but okay. Now, if you have a serger, this is the time for your serger to shine. If you don't have a serger, then what you're going to do is you're going to come all the way from the top, and don't forget to use a matching. This really wants to use a matching thread. Backstitch to the end. Go down. Keep going. Do, 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 do. I always end up taking off the clip a little early, but I've gotten very practiced at holding everything in place while I do it. All the way down to the end. Now I'm doing about I'm doing around a 1/4 inch seam. I think I might actually be a hair less than a 1/4 inch seam to the end. Now my machine loves to suck in this last little tiny bit. And I didn't do it this time. Yay. Every now and again you'll get a machine. This machine can be really bad at, once I get to the very end, if I go too close to the exact edge, it'll suck it in. So I stop just a little tiny bit before the end because it's never going to affect, unless you're literally trying to hold sand in these bags, it's never going to have that effect. So make sure that this is lined up. Notice I haven't even pinned. Now I would if it was bigger. This is a small one, and I've got my knee lift. I don't know if you're noticing, both hands are here, and I'm lifting with my knee. If you happen to have a knee lift on your machine, take the time to play with it and learn how to use it, because you can it can help you in a lot of ways. Like I said, I'm not bothering to pin because I have both hands free. Make sure that that ribbon is still out of the way. You'll be able to feel it. Da, 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 da. Now, you've got two choices. I'm gonna, yep, see, it did it this time. It did it this time, because I let it get close to the edge. It did it this time, so just lightly. I'm not using a whole lot of pressure. Just lightly do that, and it will let it pop back out. But just, if that's something that your machine does, just be aware of it, and try not to panic. I guess panic is the wrong word. Don't panic. If that's something that your machine does, don't try to fight it while it's in the machine. Just stop, take it out, give it a light, and I'm just using light pressure. Anyway, now you have a choice. You have a bad view is what you have. Okay, you have a choice. You can fold this over and then sew it and get a really good seam with no possibility of fraying. Or, because I'm on crisis mode, not crisis mode, yeah, I'm on crisis mode. My son is giving me a crisis. I'm blaming my child. I can do that, right? I don't even know where the zigzag is on this machine. MLMR? What the heck? That looks good. I think it's a zigzag. Let's see. Nope, that's not, I don't know what the heck that is. That one didn't like me at all. Do. Nope. I think it's a zigzag. Yeah, it's a zigzag. I just needed to start. Okay. Zigzag stitches. Sorry. I just switched machines back again. I don't really have a lot of projects that require a zigzag stitch. So I'm going pretty fast. Take your time if you need to. This actually isn't, okay, I'm racing against myself today because my son's coming. Oh, that's what it was doing. Okay. Yeah. Got a little bit of a tangle in here. No big deal. This machine's easy for tangles. This machine's really easy for tangles because, yeah. Whenever you think your thread is tangled, just kind of take some time. Make sure your foot is up so everything's moving freely. It just caught the one thing funny. Okay, so do the other side. A zigzag stitch will keep your fabric from fraying. You may get small frays. Okay, that's a pretty big one. And I'll go over and trim those off later. You may get small frays, but they will only get so big and they will not go past where your stitching is. So I can have a simple basic bag that I don't have to worry too much about. Like I said, you can, oh, silly machine. This machine does not want to be my friend. There we go. The cutter was still partially engaged and it didn't like that. It snagged a little bit of fabric underneath. If your machine snags a little bit of fabric and does something weird when you're trying to cut it, sometimes you will have to turn your machine off and back on again. It is not the end of the world. It just means that because the fabric cutter is actually a pretty small, weak arm is what it is. Okay, let's get this lined up. Whoops, let me put it back. Let me cut that, come back, put it back onto zigzag. Now that is the joy of, that's the joy of matching up your thread, because I'll have to come back and trim that, but it's not going to be visible. Okay, done. Over here. Oh, back over here again. Back over here again. So, hey, I did it. I did it. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? This is going to be bonus. I'm going to do I'm going to do a next step. If John shows up, then I'll finish it later. But let's see what we've got right now. We've got a lovely little bag. By the way, kids, if you don't mind this kind of a tie, because you're gonna throw your, what's your gift? You're gonna throw your gift in here. If I can do it without, you're gonna throw your gift in here, and then you're going to snug it up. You're gonna tie it down. You may need a friend to help. I'm kind of crappy at this part. And then you're gonna do a bow or do whatever you want. The length, I didn't give a length on the ribbon because it really just depends on what you want. Because what I find is that for me personally, I like long ribbons so I can put in bows. But some people just want to do a quick little whatever and not give it a lot of thought. And there you go. You have a nice little bag. And because you put the wide hem at the top and bottom, when you don't have to look at the inside of the thread. The zigzags I just do show in this method that I used because it's just quick. Generally speaking, you're not gonna see it because they're gonna be all flurfed up and look like that. So there you go, something for under the tree. Now, bonus. I said I was gonna do the bonus. if the doorbell hasn't rang. So let me just stop talking. That way if John shows up, if I stop talking for a second, if John were to show up right now, I know where to stop. Okay, boxing the corners. By the way, if you guys are flipping something inside out, put a finger and a thumb in each corner. Pinch it, flip it. It's not necessarily a requirement, but if you're working with something that is reversible, it's a little bit of a shortcut to get your reversible done. So, yeah, if you don't like this look at the edge, then just fold it under, sew it down. So what size bag do we have right now? We have a bag that it's going to close here. So you measure from here to the bottom. If you're trying to figure out exactly what's going to fit in this bag, then you're going to measure from the bottom of the ribbon, because that is where the bag, everything above that is the fluffy stuff that sticks at the top. So this is about 5.5 inches deep and you measure from the inside stitch line to the inside stitch line to get you don't measure outside to outside, measure inside to inside, and it is 6 3/4 wide. So that is what you'll get for that, and that was 1.5 inches at the top on both sides. So that's 1.5 inches and 1.5 inches is 3 inches. If you want it to be fancier and have a much bigger thing at the top, then you just fold it down further and further and further. What did I do last year? A fat quarter. A fat quarter will get you a bag that's about 18 inches wide by about 10 inches deep. Or what I did was I cut them in half so that they're 10 inches wide by. I forget how I did them. Anyway, what we're going to do now is we're going to box the corners. Boxing the corners is easy. Oh, I got to stop and start the camera though because it's about to get to the end of its thing. Let's stop and start so I can have a clean thing for you guys. Okay. Basically what you do, sometimes you want to either finger press really good. There's two ways to do this. I like to do the quick way. So you take it and you find the center on the bottom and line up, and I finger pressed. I've got a little tiny faint line that I did the finger pressing thing, so now I've got a faint line that even when you spread it back out again, there's a faint line that you'll be able to see, but the camera just won't pick it up, at least not well. So you find your center line on the bottom. You take your, it's a fiddly project. It's fiddly, fiddly, fiddly. So you take that and you decide how big you want the box on the bottom to be. Fiddle it, jiggle it. It's fine. It can you know, depending on how friendly. This is, you know what? This isn't. Okay, I started doing my boxing on the bottom the one way, but because of this is a fabric that has, if this had two pieces of fabric sewn together, I would have a really nice clear stitch line along the bottom to line up that with. I don't have that because of, I just folded it up. So what I'm going to do to make a box, should I go 2 by 2? That's going to be a huge. Okay, I'm going to go 1.5 by 1.5. Okay, and I'm going to get my pen out. Now, you measure your lines from, let me just mark this with my pen. This is a heat erase pen, so the stitch line, my stitch line, the furthest to the inside stitch line is right there. Okay, so I'm going to measure along. I'm going to use the bottom there because that goes right to the edge, but I'm going to measure from that stitch line, because all of this is just seam allowance now and doesn't matter to the size of the project. So I'm going to go 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. So I'm going to measure I am going to put my my first line is going to go here. And that's fine. My second line, let me just put the line on it and you'll see what's happening here. Okay. I'm not sure if you guys can see this or not, but it definitely looks like a rectangle because it is. Because this is all seam allowance, you have to measure to your inside line or you won't get the dimension of the square that you want. So I went 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. I'm going to do the same over here. And like I said, my 1.5 inch mark goes to the inside thread. My 1.5 inch the other way goes to the bottom where there's no stitching. If there was a seam along the bottom, then I would also bring it up to the inside line, to wherever the stitch line, this has 2 stitch lines. This is why I'm saying the inside line. You bring it to your stitch line. If there's a second stitch line, bring it to the inside of whichever one's inside the fabric and not towards your seam allowance. So there's those. Okay, sharp, sharp, sharp pair of scissors. Cut it this way. Oh no, what are you doing? Oh no, I'm cutting this. Ah! Okay. There's another way to... Oh, there's my son! Okay, I'll finish this in a bit, guys. Be right back. Okay, I gave it a good try, but John caught here. I wasn't quite done yet. So here we go. Let's finish this. Let us finish this. So, where am I? Obviously, for you guys, this is a 2-second cut. For me, we stopped and visited for a couple hours, then we had dinner, then we went ahead and gave John a lift home, and while we were out, we went over and looked at some Christmas lights that are displayed across town. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a minute. Okay, so I marked 1.5 inches from the, I marked 1.5 inches from the fold and the seam line. Made a nice little square cut there. Do. So, turn the camera. Yep, I'm still going for vertigo. These are supposed to be quick and easy, so even though I had a lovely little delay in there. So, I did a 1.5 inch. Basically, now that I've cut it like that, I'm going to pinch the corners that I made, and I'm going to pull them straight out. And I'm going to line them up as best I can. Not doing a very good job of this now that I'm trying to hurry. Okay, I'm going to line them up as best I can. Push that down. Make sure that's nice and flat. Pin the crap out of it if you need to. I'm not going to pin the crap again. I've got the luxury of my lovely little knee lift. So as long as I'm holding it solidly and feel like I'm doing a good job with it, I'm pretty lucky. So do a back stitch. Go all the way across, 1/4 inch. There we go. Now I'm going to be lazy. Oops, back stitch. Do. Cut it. Do. Now, because of the way this was done, you will need a zigzag system. I just said I'm going to be lazy and do the zigzag later, but it's like I might as well just do it now. Of course, this machine automatically does a tacking stitch at one end, so just don't forget to do a tacking stitch or a quick little back stitch at the ends. Go across so that again, this won't fray. Now you can there's obviously other designs that are going to let you do better at this, and that's fine. This is a quick one. I'm just in a hurry. I want to have something nice for Christmas. And honestly, I'm gonna put something in it, sit it under a tree, and I'm not gonna touch it again until it's time to open gifts. And then I'm gonna take this bag and I'm gonna throw it in a box and wait for another year. So you do get to cut a few corners if that's what you want to do, especially, by the way, I'm lining this corner up here with where I know that finger pressing line is. I kind of zipped through it quickly on the first one. I'm trying to catch up now. So I did that. So you just line it up. And if you are not confident, of course they're not sitting out. If you're not confident that you're going to get it to line up properly, then you put a pin through that fold line and push it through here. See, it's not 100% accurate. You push it through there and just make sure that you're going right through the inside stitching line, and then you know you've got it lined up properly. And you can just go like that. Tuck it down, pin it in place. Extra pins, less pins, no pins. Be lazy like me. Don't be lazy like me. Okay, no, be lazy. It's fun. This is one of those projects. This is definitely a project where you get to say, "Oh, I don't care." Obviously, you do care, but this is definitely a project where you don't have to care too much if you make little mistakes, because when this is done, you're sticking a gift in it. You're sticking it under the tree, and that's where it's going to live until somebody opens the bag, looks at the present inside, toss. Oops, I forgot to go back to straight stitch. You can do that. It won't be okay, if you're doing it in an area where you know nobody's going to see it, it's not going to be the end of your day, and you don't have to stop and pick things out. Okay, so straight stitch at a 1/4 inch, coming in just on the outside edge of my 1/4 inch zigzag. So this zigzag is set at 3 millimeters, by the way. You don't need a super wide zigzag. You just need enough so that this fabric won't be pulled out. And you just need enough of a zigzag between your regular stitch and your outside edge to keep it from fraying. This stitch has no other purpose. Okay, guys, so my sound cut off, and you guys didn't get to see that. You guys didn't get to see all the lovely, wonderful, important, oh my God, earth-shattering things. I revealed secrets of the universe, and the sound got cut off, and now they're just gone forever. Anyway, I was literally just finishing off the last seam, and all I had left to do was turn it inside out and then babble at you guys for a while to tell you how important and special I am, because that's just how my world goes. Anyway, it's done. It's ready to go. It is now boxed on the bottom, so it will stand up on its own, lunch bag style. And you can still put your little present in it, your little present, and then tie it up. I'm going to tie it up just for completionist, so you see what it looks like now that it's been boxed. So don't forget, the tie goes on just below where the hem is. Let's just tie this first because I'm distracting myself. Apparently tying a knot is too distracting. Okay, and that's it, and it's done. That's it, it's done. It looks awesome. Your open seams that I mentioned earlier are here and here. And because you took the time to put a hem in, they're really not that visible. And there's a present inside. People are more concerned about this than the bag. So this looks really nice. I like the way these ones turn out. Once they're done and tied up and sitting under a tree, and like I said, I'm the first to say that not finishing the seam in there, I don't like unfinished seams. It is a bit of a pet peeve for me, but I'm the first one to say that an unfinished seam in something that you put a thing in, put it over there, and then don't touch it for a month is totally fine. So it looks really good. when you do open this up, if you're picky, you're going to notice that the seam isn't finished. If you're not picky, you're not going to care. And because you're not going all the way in to seeing the inside, the back side of the fabric, it just looks really nice, draws your eye away from anything. Fraying can and will happen. I've got a couple of bags. I've got some bags that I've done really nice. I've got some bags that I haven't. And every year, obviously, I just finished the bag, so I'll double check, remove any fraying, but the bag will only fray. I don't know if I can show. Yeah, the bag will only fray as far as the top teeth of the zigzag. So this bag will, and because it's a zigzag stitch, it will keep it. This bag will last for years, even if there is a bit of fraying that you may want to address from time to time. I like to point out that I'm not calling this a problem. Like I said, it's a bit of a pet peeve for me. That's why I'm focusing on it a little bit. But once the bag is tucked up nicely and put under the tree, the fact that there's an open seam is not even visible at all. And then come Christmas Day, they're going to go, oh my God, this is wonderful. Oh, what a lovely present. And then they're going to be here anyway. I like to give the bag with the gift if the people, I always make it an optional. I always say whenever they, and yeah, these are just the regular frays that were more or less there from making the bag. I just haven't got them off yet. I like to give the bag with the gift, and of course I always tend to ask. That way I'm not making an assumption. It's like, oh, and if you want to keep the bag, of course that's yours as well. And if they don't want the bag, I'll just take it back and use it for the next year. I think I lose about half. Well, most, when I'm doing stuff for my kids, are like, oh no, I want you to fill this bag up again next year. So that's it, and that's done. And again, if you want to keep it, if you're in a hurry, or you don't trust, I mean, when you're first starting on as a new sewer, you don't always trust yourself. So if you're in a hurry or you don't necessarily trust yourself, then just stop at the regular bag. I mean, that was, stop at the part before you put the boxing in the bottom. And if you want to go that next level, box the bottom. And yeah, this is this. I'm probably going to do at least one more video, maybe two more videos. I've got other bag designs where the bags are even a little bit fancier, looking like, where the seam isn't going to be something that you have to pay attention to, whatever. So there's probably going to be at least one more bag video coming, and I'm going to try and get a few more. I'm going to try and get a few more Christmassy type stuff. There's Christmas tree skirts, which I don't need a Christmas tree. I don't need a Christmas tree skirt, but I am going to. I am kind of excited about showing you guys how to make your own, because I know for people who like that. I know for people who need a Christmas tree skirt, being able to make your own is a fun little family project, especially if you're, if you and the kids like to sew together, whatever. So that might be a thing that's coming up. I'm also going to be going forward. I have an Etsy shop. Obviously, it's in the comments below if you want to check it out. I have an Etsy shop, and things that I get asked from time to time. How did you start your shop? How do you start a shop? How do you succeed at Etsy and online business in general and stuff like that? And I've been doing this for 4 years now. I also run a social media group, a Facebook group that talks about online selling, mostly almost entirely Etsy focused, because that's my only online selling. But I've built up quite the library of experiences, information, helpful tips, helpful ideas, things that work, things that don't work. Things that I've figured out on my own, things that I've watched people go through. Like somebody will come into my group and say, hey, this thing happened, what should I do? And of course, the reason why the group exists is to help support each other through all those processes. So even though there's things that I haven't experienced for myself, I've watched exactly how it's played out for other people because of the interactions in social media and whatnot. So I'm going to start, I'll definitely create a playlist so that people that are only interested in online business and online selling can target their viewing with me or whatever. But if that is interesting to you, then definitely subscribe, hit the bell. Subscribe, and hit the bell anyway if you like what you see and you want to come back for more. Now you're just going to stare at a bag and look at my hands. But anyway, that's coming up. So look for videos that talk about that. And I'm going to be talking about everything from what to expect, the ins and outs, that sort of thing. For the sewing, I'm definitely going to keep sewing, obviously. And with Christmas coming up, I'm going to check through my library of my little personal library of Christmas themed sewing projects, and see if I can get a few more videos out for you guys between now and Christmas for anybody who's looking for stuff to make for themselves, make for others. Like obviously you're making this for you because if you've got a ton of scrap fabric, this will make your gift giving easier and more convenient and, you know, reusable. So we'll go from there. I think that's about it for now. Like I said, my sound cut out, so I cannot remember everything that I covered in my finishing up. And here's the bag. Here, you know, universal secrets were revealed. You did miss that part, so there's that. And everything else is what it's going to be. Look for my next video coming soon. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me. And again, leave your comments. I love to hear you guys' thoughts, opinions, what you like, what you don't like, what you want to see next, that sort of thing. And in the meantime, you guys take care, and I'll be back soon.